Welcome back. Wants without needs. Wants without needs are peak self neglect. And I know that sounds harsh, but sometimes the truth does not arrive wearing customer service language. Sometimes the truth kicks the door open because the house is already on fire and everyone inside is still asking, but is the couch cute? We're living in an era where self abandonment has been rebranded as self expression. People are putting liabilities before shelter, dopamine before discipline, aesthetics before stability. Then they repeat the same phrases like they are reading from the same broken teleprompter. Life is short. You can't take money with you. I'm just trying to enjoy myself. And yes, life is short, but life also gets very long when your choices start charging interest. There is a difference between enjoying life and financially vandalizing your future because you had a bad week, saw someone else's highlight reel, or let the internet convince you that your piece was hidden inside a shopping cart. That is not enjoyment. That is escape with the receipt. And the NPCification of society has popularized a new level of self abandonment because too many people are living from a script they did not write. They are repeating phrases they never examined. They are chasing lifestyles their current habits will never sustain. They are trying to roll monopoly dice and land straight on jackpot, but their daily decisions keep sending them back to make ends meet. And let's talk about that phrase, make ends meet. Usually describes someone doing their best to keep bills paid, food on the table, electricity on, and life stable. It is survival language. It is the language of someone trying to hold the roof up with both hands. During my time volunteering at a Houston nonprofit by the name of West Houston Assistant Ministries, aka WHAM, volunteer teams, I met people who were grateful to receive help, food pantry, clothing, utility assistance, rental assistance, job assistance, real resources for real people in real situations. And many of the people I met did not want luxury, they wanted stability. They wanted the ground under their feet to stop moving. Some of them lived near the location, and when I saw them in the wild, they were peaceful, not perfect, not rich, not flashy, peaceful. Because when your needs are met, your nervous system can finally stop screaming long enough for you to think. That taught me something. And actually, I just thought about something. That actually is a crazy thing because when you do have a regulated nervous system, you realize that you didn't need a lot of the things that you want. So it's almost ironic that there's always things in the media in the world that are purposely being pushed on people to keep them in a state of irregulation, which would mean that they're seeking outside satisfaction to soothe the pain of the irregulation, but they're not soothing the actual irregulation itself. It's kind of like if you're bleeding and instead of getting stitches, you just keep putting band-aids on a clearly open wound that will not stop bleeding. But you're bleeding on everything and you got to keep putting things to replace it. So honestly, is really darker, but it's kind of like I I'm gonna have to get an artist on my team because I'm visualizing something right now. It's kind of like you have the issue of people seeking outside validation, but then you have so many moving parts that keep them in the loop of seeking outside validation. Because when you have familial influence to spend and to do certain things and to be miserable and to hide it with luxury, friends doing it, co-workers doing it. If you living in a city that's disenfranchised, more than likely where there's poverty, there's luxury for some unknown reason, which is very paradoxical. All of that together makes it hard to leave that lifestyle because you got to break through so many different layers. That's why I commend people who begin a growth journey and realize that it's a lifelong journey because you are breaking barriers. And some barriers have been inherited long before you. Some people are five, six generations in of tribal thinking, of reckless spending, of eternal victimhood. Like, so it's deeper than rap. Like, Lord, I just thought about that as I was reading that. Anyways, wants creates flavor, but when wants replaces needs, flavor becomes poison. I have always been a needs first person, but that's because I had to be because growing up around idiots, And that's not even a sub. Even before I had that's direct delivery, even before I had language for financial literacy, even before I understood assets, investing, saving systems, or how money should be stored and grown, I knew one thing: luxury does not come before stability. My flaw was not that I put unnecessary things above my survival. I put people above my survival, but we ain't gonna get into that in this video. My flaw was that I did not properly store the money. I did not compile assets the way I should have. I was one of those people who was paid bi-weekly, saw the rare three paycheck month as the free check. And what is funny is that when I traced that phrase back, I realized I first heard that during childhood. At that time, it did not make sense to me. Later in my 20s, working at a call center, making $9 an hour. This was my late teens, early 20s, by the way. That wording can be confusing. Later on in life, moving towards my 20s is what I should have wrote. I heard that the same kind of thinking again, and I worked with people of all ages. I remember being shocked at what some of my coworkers seemed able to afford: clothes, cars, trips, nights out, constant spending. And I was not jealous, I was curious. My mind kept asking how, because we worked the same job, same building, same hourly wage, same fluorescent lights, same headset fatigue. Later, I realized the answer was often debt. Not always, but often. And some of my people had sugar parents, baby. So I learned the game from them. There was my first experience of people who had tricks, men and women getting tricked on. That was before the fans of Only. But that wasn't always. Some people were married. It's just different reasons. Some people had money before the job. Some people were retired and they still worked to have something to do, so they was just well off. So it basically wasn't people solely depending on those $9 like I was. And that's all. It just was a question. It wasn't me sizing people up or anything, because honestly, when people have stuff that they enjoy, I actually like to see it. I like to see it. I don't want it. I don't ever want anything people have at all. No, 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 no. No. People are nah. One of my biggest money leaks was food. Not because I was a fat bastard. I'm joking. Not because I was addicted to luxury dining, but because I had not been allowed to develop the normal life skill of cooking at home. Perks of having weirdos for parents. And the irony, I could outcook the siblings and the parents, yet somehow I was not allowed to cook. Quiet part out loud. My older brother could regularly burn food and trigger the smoke alarm like the kitchen was auditioning for a disaster film on Tubi. But apparently, the invisible rule was just for me. So when I finally started looking closely at my bank account, I saw two major leaks. One financially supporting able-bodied parents and family members who should have allowed me to financially flourish. Two, paying per meal because eating out had become the default. And here is something people don't realize enough. Frequently eating out eventually loses its value. At first, eating out feels like novelty. It feels like a little event, a restaurant, a bar, a new menu item, a spontaneous invite, a let me try what I saw last time moment. But when eating out becomes routine, the magic starts dying. The same places stop feeling special. The same meals stop feeling exciting. The novelty runs out, but the spending continues. Then something darker happens. Your brain starts connecting hunger with takeout. You're not just hungry anymore. You are hungry for a specific routine. Not to mention, that pattern is so powerful. You can legit have groceries in your house and your brain will not be able to like imagine you cooking. It'll only be able to imagine you eating out. Like, it's so strange. Like, psychology is crazy because I'm not even on this like 1 foot deep into psychology. I'm still surface level. I'm more so from learned experiences. But when the more I learned about actual written psychology of what is known and studied by humans, baby, you like it. Marketing. Marketing is nothing but manipulation for money. That's all marketing is. That's like, marketing is not anything else, because you're getting people who otherwise would not buy your product to buy your product. That is manipulation. I mean, but it's billion trillion-dollar industry, so it can't be too bad, right? You are craving the path, the app, the restaurant, the packaging, the emotional shortcut. So when you try to stop cold turkey, you mistake the craving for a command, but it is not a command, it is a pattern. It is your brain doing what Apple Maps does when you get in the car and automatically suggests work or home, because that is usually where you go at the time, which is actually very messy for some people. Because if y'all have people that y'all share spaces with and you up to no good, or maybe you trying to surprise them with something and you've been going to a hall for 2 3 weeks in a row at 7 a.m. every day because they go to work because you're gonna do a surprise proposal, maybe Apple is gonna tell on you. Well, all of them gonna tell on you. So make sure you're not living dirty unless you want to get caught. And honestly, stop hiding it. If you're gonna live dirty, stand on it. Don't be a hidden hoe. You gotta be open with your hold'em. And hold'em could be anything. It's just you hoeing, because a hoe is a garden tool originally, and people turned it into describing whatever. So when you want ho, you don't have to ho on the low. Santa said ho ho ho. So that's three holes at the top. Anything to make it pop. Let me stop. I tried to stop the rhyme and ended up adding three extra words to it. That is crazy. King of rap. That is why awesome awareness matters. Without awareness, you think every impulse is truth. With awareness, you realize some impulses are just old programming asking for another season. Not to mention, if you couple this with people surrounding you with the same impulses, like just like people who come together for a good cause can change communities and worlds, baby. When you stop coming together for good, you start coming together for evil. That's all it is. One is the absence of the other. With awareness, you realize, when I realized how much money I was leaking out of my life, I felt like the king of thieves with two felonies for finally noticing the obvious. Both leaks could be solved by one action: move out again. So I did. And when I moved out, purchased groceries, and cooked, I saw the difference immediately. Eating out regained its value because it stopped being a dependency. And also, I really focus on, when I do eat out, to eat things that a person can make better than I can. That really makes me have to work hard. So if I'm gonna eat out, I better find something new. I better find a place that I've been to before that has guaranteed service, but get something different off the menu. And that's another thing. When I was still a fast foodian, baby, it was the apocalypse for customer service. So for me, I used to be fussing at myself. Like, you gonna keep giving these people money to have an attitude with you and all of this other stuff, even though I could take it to corporate, I could take it to the emails. Like, call me Kareem, the male Karen. But I don't raise hell in public. I don't even, like, honestly. But with my customer service skills of being able to report somebody, but I don't. I'm like, you know what? The people that these people get like this, they train these people so low to where they able to be comfortable doing this, baby. It's bigger than me. But to keep going to places knowing that they have bad service, that's you asking for it. Honestly, the person who be rude to you is not even wrong anymore, because why you still coming back? And I'm sure the person probably thinking that, like, why you still coming here if I'm rude, you know? So I was gonna make another point, but I ramble myself off the cliff. So whenever I land on that point, I'll be back to that point. Something I did 1 to 3 times a month, not including events or invitations. That is the difference between enjoying something and being controlled by it. Then came the next spending flaw: clubbing. Clubbing became the social norm. Work people were going, club people were connected on social media. Everyone was posting, tagging, performing, appearing. There was pressure to conform, but even then, I had resistance. My whole thing, my relationship with the club wasn't based off social media. It was based off the fact that I wanted to support the people that I built club friendships with, that I was so desperately trying to make real life friendships. Not because I was lonely, because there has never been a time in life where me, have had a shortage of access to people that could be potential friends or people wanting to be in my life. That has never been an issue at all. The only time it was probably slightly something is if I was in places that had heavy tribal mindset, and I just wasn't messing with it. I really didn't want to be bothered with them people because they were all collective idiots, especially with the things that they were doing, and then they will all be victims together. And it's like, for me, unfortunately, I really don't know what part of me to cite it from, but I'm anti pussy. As far as people who let things go, make them weak, beg for stuff, like let life mess over them. I'm all about domination when it comes to things I have control over. And when it comes to existing in the world, I don't believe that a person can just come and try to limit my existence for no reason and try to corner me. So for me, that always activates the Phoenix Force, which I call it that because when I have an adrenaline rush, it literally feels like I'm in flames in a good way. I don't feel like I'm on fire in hell. I feel like I'm I'm the flame on a propane grill because I love propane grilling. So I don't really support groups where people are collectively weak together, or groups where people got to tag team people. That is why for me, no matter what beef, smoke, or whatever I had, smoke brisket, smoke pork chops in the streets in life, I never wanted people I'm associated with to join in. Baby, let me handle them because really the funny thing about it, people who knew me and know me, they never know what I'm capable of. They don't know that they don't know what I'm capable of, but they definitely don't know. So they got to realize that, baby, I don't need help. The person you might need to go on their side to help them, help like keep me off of them. And you can't do that because I don't get on people the conventional way. I don't do conventional things. I don't react with physical violence because someone upset me verbally. No, no. People are so predictable and they wear their life on their sleeve that if a person puts themselves in the enemy position, they've already given me all their weaknesses. Because your first weakness was thinking that you could oppose me. That was the biggest thing. And whatever persona or whatever environment you saw me in, to where you thought that was all I was about, to where you thought that you could just overpower that, you didn't realize that you're dealing with a layered person, baby. I'm the tectonic plates. We're the volcanoes. There were pressure to conform, but even then I had resistance. I could have unique weeks where I went out more than normal, but I never had the capacity to become a full-time club addict. Even though the times when I was showing up for people on the outside looking in, if you just was my neighbor and saw me always going to the club, you would have thought, oh, he loved the club. No, he did not. His dumb ass was being supportive to people who always needed to go out to heal their wounds, even though that didn't heal it, they probably opened it up more. I was known for disappearing from frequent scenes for weeks or months. I would usually wait for club concerts or special events, and that was it. Those were my spending flaws: eating out, clubbing, attire, and expenses connected to going out. But even before minimalist ideology crossed my threshold, I made it my business to buy things that made life easier, not just things that make me look impressive. And I need to be honest, I do not know if I could survive the level of external pressure people deal with daily if I had not started removing myself from the machine, because many people do not realize how much of their financial pressure is being manufactured by their internet use. When I deleted social media, I unknowingly released myself from thousands of ads. And the dark side is that if you don't have social media, but you're close to people who use social media, it's social media. Oh my God, like I just use social media as a connection to cigarettes and alcohol in another video, but literally social media excessive use is secondhand smoking. Because if you have a person, like say for instance, if you are a middle-aged teenager, wait, a middle-aged teenager, I've never heard that term used before. Not y'all got me being candid in this video. That's why the scripts is here. Y'all not supposed to see this side. Skip this part. You ain't hear me being candid. But imagine like if you are an adult, right? But you in a situation to where maybe a manager leads your department, which leads to the success of the department, and that means your employment is based on your manager. Or if you live in a living situation where you may have a roommate, or you're staying with someone because you're in a time of need or something like that. The scary part about it is if that person is negatively impacted by social media, that means that your life is now directly being controlled by social media, even though you are not using it directly, which is the same thing as secondhand smoke. If I was to, I don't smoke cigarettes, y'all, but I tried them offshore though. I did. I had a few months of Camel Crush menthol, but I never did it around people. Never wanted to do it around people. Was actually a, a panicking if the wind blew it towards a person, and I would actually try to run in front of smoke and fan it away because that's how serious I was. But anyways, secondhand smoke kills more people than directly smoking, is what they used to say on the 90s ad. No, not my words. So secondhand social media use is really able to impact people, even us on the road. We're being impacted by other drivers using social media, so it's secondhand social media use. That is crazy. Wow. Did I discover something? I'm gonna have to research that. I don't think I discovered that. They have people with with large brains, supercomputer brains, and a lot of them are connected together and study stuff. So I'm sure that's probably out there, but I'm gonna look it up. Maybe that'll be another video. I release myself from the emotional roller coaster of the timeline. I release myself from the subconscious comparison. I release myself from the unlimited accessibility people think they deserve just because we share an app. And I started noticing something else. Many people became absent in their real social circles because they were giving their best energy to online circles. There are people who have been online besties for decades and have never met. Every day online is a battleship, a battlefield between every group and its natural enemy. And many people will not admit this, but they get most of their style ideas, hair ideas, travel desires, relationship hunger, and lifestyle dissatisfaction from the internet. Some people do not need a relationship. They need to quit their repetitive self abandonment binges. Some people do not need a vacation. They need nervous system regulation. Some people do not need another outfit. They need to stop dressing up a life they refuse to repair. Because see, the thing about it, we've romanticized vacations and purchasing things so much, and are trained to never speak against it. Which honestly, if a person is doing it, it would be kind of rude to just speak your unwarranted opinion if it's not in support of it to the person, even if it may be advice, because people are at a point to where if it disagrees with what they're doing, their body takes disagreement as you attacking them. So even if your words were not negative words, the fact that it was a disagreement, it triggers the threat detection system in people's body. That's why it's just better to not even try to be the person to these people, because they're not going to listen. You see it too many times with people telling people to delete viral posts before they go viral, or they're going to lose their job, and then the person like it and then they still lose their job. But when it comes to vacations, honestly, if you're not really into the vacation, that shit is annoying as hell. And this is experience talking. And it ain't even places I went because I was influenced. It was places I went because I actually wanted to try a particular thing that was there. But everything before and after that particular experience that I did enjoy was annoying. The airports, the depending on what country you go to, sometimes it feel like you traveling back to the 80s, and places that didn't have pre-check, or places that didn't have wheelchair assistance, which honestly at this point my leg could be howling like Dolly Parton on I Will Always Love You, and I love her too. I love the song. I don't know how to love her, but I had to give that up because baby, vacations is not worth it, especially for people who get in debt to do it. To buy something and thinking that that was gonna bring you peace, like on how Stella got her groove back, it's like it's a waste of money. And yeah, you get to say you went on it, but did you really enjoy it? Like at least try to enjoy things that's free first, and then start enjoying the stuff you pay for. Because when you can enjoy free things, then you're gonna have higher standards for what you pay for. But when you're so busy chasing a feeling and you don't set a standard for that feeling, baby, the money just gonna be flying. You might as well just go withdraw all your cash, put it in a bag, get a drop top, drop the top, and get on the freeway and go full speed ahead to infinity and beyond. All it takes is one share, one reaction channel. Oh, that's what I want to say too. And as far as the group thing, that's a trap. The groups, like people, everything is real. Racism is real. Like the stuff that people be beefed out about is real. Degenerate behavior is real. But the method that it is being discussed online is pointless because no one is ever going to listen to the other side. If you believe that white people are racist, there is no white profile on white social media that will ever get you to understand that. And if white people believe certain things that black people should know, there is no black profile on internet that is going to understand that if they already didn't agree with you. So all of these engagements, all it does is y'all constantly keep each other's nervous system overregulated. So basically it's like y'all feeding each other to the things that drain your money because you make these decisions based off of a irregulated nervous system and draining all of your life essence to scroll and to keep up with these conversations. You're taking away from energy that could go towards things you love, and then people wonder why they have such a negative outlook on life. It's because you literally spend your life with negativity. It's not that you have to make negative positive. If it's flooded outside, we're not, well, I'm not saying to be optimistic and call the flood in the street a swimming pool and then go get your flotation devices and go outside with your kids and call it a beach day. No, like a flood is a flood, but there are also positive aspects. One thing about Earth, unless we're all dead, there's always positive things happening every single day. Yes, we may be destroying the planet. We may not be destroying the planet. The planet may be destroying us. Who knows? I mean, you know, but when you focus on these things and then you keep engaging with other people about what y'all both believe the truth is and thinking that a stranger is going to agree with you, like, no, if you're going to use social media, you have to use it like the people use hookup apps. You got to know that you coming on there to get, smashed or to do the smashing. And that's it. You come on there looking for love, baby. You're going to be up shit's creek. No pun intended. All it takes, okay, that I read that part, and it is being translated into other languages. It is being stitched. It is being mocked, debated, monetized, archived. Then you wonder why strangers stare too long. You're on social media. Your wound has a distribution deal. Now back to the spending. We are at a point where people are publicly putting liabilities before their homes, transportation. Oh, um my bad. I just confused myself. Let me pause for the cause. So what had happened was I tried to use the teleprompter feature on StreamYard, but my script is so long it does not fit everything in there. So I was wondering why the script was stopping, but the slides. Well, I knew that the script wasn't ended, but I had to realize that it was maximum characters. They said, "Sir, you talk too darn much." It's funny how I alternate alternative curse words to actually just saying the word. That is hilarious. Because when everyone describes their personal downfall with the same slogans, that is not individuality. That is programming. And many people live like this for years without seeing where they went wrong. They live in regret from the past while making regrettable decisions in the present. But also, too, you have to realize that programming the people may not have programmed you directly, but once people see people are programmed, they do work to keep you programmed so that you are not lost to the whatever cause it is. That is why it's normalized to immediately make people with different thinking patterns of yours your enemy. Because if people learn to see past differences, the level of power that would be achieved because you have people from different angles. That's just like if they make the people on the top floor and the bottom floor beef. The people on the top floor could see the storm coming. The people on the bottom floor could see the water rising. So, you know what I'm saying? And many people live like this for years without seeing where they went wrong. They live in regret from the past while making regrettable decisions in the present. Then, when someone identifies the pattern, they become offended. Not corrected, offended. You could say, I notice you overspend every time you have a bad day at work. And suddenly you're the villain, you're judging, you're hating, you think you're better, you're being negative. Or like someone telling you that people don't talk to them at the gym, and you can tell them that they funky. Could your funk be the reason why? Well, I mean, I wouldn't say it like that. I would honestly, I wouldn't be talking to people that's funky. You because I can't, like, for me, I can't take my own self smelling. So why would I take your smell? Like, that's rude. That is upsetting me and my home senses. Sometimes pattern recognition is not an attack, it is a flashlight. But people with the awareness avoidance starter pack will demonize your words because your observation is standing too close to the truth they are trying not to meet. And that matters because people, well, I need to go back anyway. People influence others. Humans still have not accepted how dangerous influence can be. The more you think you cannot be influenced, the more influence can move through you undetected. That is why self awareness is not optional. Without it, you cannot catch yourself in the moment. You cannot even catch yourself moments after it happens. You just keep calling the pattern your personality. You keep calling the impulse your truth. You keep calling the wound your style. One thing is, we agree with people when they say that music helped them got get through a heartbreak, but we can't believe people when people warn that music can influence people if it's about violence and crime. That was a random thought. You keep calling the wound your lifestyle, and now I look around and see people in sinking sand. But when you look closer, some of them are the ones who burst the underground pipe that liquefied the ground beneath them. And if you try to warn them, they do not want help. They want agreement. They want yes. They want validation with no accountability. But I am alarmed because many people who could be saved are being drowned by their echo chamber. They cannot hear the call of freedom because the algorithm keeps feeding them the sound of their own excuses. Many people are aiming for a life their current behavior will never allow. They want wealth without stewardship. They want love without respect, peace without discipline, freedom without sacrifice, expansion without structure, and gratitude is completely missing. That is how you know the hedonic treadmill is running the show. People cannot look back at all the purchases they once begged for and ask, why did this not satisfy me? They cannot connect the dots. They cannot see that every time their money grows, their spending grows faster. They duplicate their old financial situation at a higher income level and call it progress. Not to mention, confirmation bias is so dangerous because if you already struggling with your spending habits and you having the feeling that would usually result in a person attempting to learn better, you're given confirmation bias online by other frivolous spenders praising bad spending and giving all types of comfort phrases to encourage it even more, which is only like when you look at money being spent, it goes somewhere. You're not just throwing money in the air when you spend money. Spending money is not you getting on the merry-go-round and having them spin you around fast and the money spins and you try to catch it and some of it fall on the ground. It's literally going to businesses. The people do not have to get, well, they still do, but they do not have, they don't need ads anymore. Do you realize they could take every ad away and people still gonna have bad spending? Because now it's people enforcing other people to spend. It's kind of like self-kept slavery. Like if the person is about to leave, they have you chained to the other person. So if you go more than 6 feet away and you start pulling the other person, they start pulling you back because they pulling the other person that's pulling them back. That's essentially what it is. Like it's not even consensual anymore because a lot of these things don't have any purpose for people. People are literally having boxes. Like how many houses do we see? Well, I don't know if y'all seen it, but when I had Twitter, I was seeing so many instances where Amazon employees was posting pictures of houses where it was 20, 40 boxes just sitting in so many boxes. The porches was filled with boxes. Somebody just was ordering stuff and it's just sitting there. Like it's crazy. And here is the part that will sting. And it wouldn't be crazy if the person intentionally did it. If you notice, I don't speak on intentionality. When people are intentionally doing things and well aware of the consequences, baby, they won't hear anything from me. It's the people who do things and are shocked that there are consequences. It's like, oh by golly, George, a consequence? They act like it's a sonic boom. Every billionaire people claim to hate is standing on a money stage built from consumer behavior. Your coins are at the base. No reference to Coinbase. Every emotional purchase, every trend you chased, every item you bought to feel seen, every subscription you forgot, every convenience you normalized, every brand you promoted for free. People say they hate the machine while feeding it breakfast, lunch, dinner, and a late night snack. And they wonder why money and material leave them empty. It is because human life has multiple rooms, and money is not the key to all of the rooms in your life. Money can buy convenience, options, and it can reduce certain stressors. But money cannot purchase character. It cannot manufacture integrity. It cannot replace gratitude. It cannot build loyalty. It cannot create self awareness. It cannot heal the part of you that keeps confusing attention with love and consumption with identity. Because, baby, how many rich people get married with no prenup and get cleaned out because they didn't see that the person clearly didn't come to play with you hoes? They came for the pay and to get away after the pay. Not to mention the amount of people that think that because people wealthy that their life is automatically better. Their life is materialistically better, but there are a lot of elements of life that money does not touch. Money has nothing to do with. Money can help you get to it because if your if you need to work for money and you have to work longer hours and work more hours because you make less. Yes, money would change your life because it would give you more time for other things. But if you notice, the people who healthily wealthy, they always tell you the time factor. Money is supposed to buy you time. It's not supposed to buy all this other stuff. You can get and when you learn to use money to buy time, which means you probably have assets that's giving you money, then you have a steady flow that's flowing like a fountain. Because as long as society, and it will always be this way, we always going to have consumers. Unfortunately, and fortunately and unfortunately, my videos may reach a set amount of people who believe in me and believe in what I'm saying, and it may help them in certain ways. But however, it will never go mass scale. Before it go mass scale, baby, these people will kill me. Before it go mass scale, if I'm that impressionable to where I can change people's mind, baby, I might need to count my own days because that's not they're not gonna let that happen because it's always people to make money off of. And it's not even you have to steal it from them; they're giving it away to you. Like at this point, can we even argue about the way people do things because these are aggressive spenders. These people are pushing to get in these lines. These people are camping outside these places to get these products. So are the billionaires really unethical? For not, and it's not all. I'm talking about the ones for these businesses that people be trying to say. Anyways, that's too deep of a conversation to try to summarize it in just a statement, passing statement. So I won't. But money cannot purchase character, it cannot build loyalty, it cannot create self-awareness. And this is where a lot of people get spiritually confused. They think praying for something, believing in it, and speaking it only will force it to happen, even when their actions make it impossible. That is not faith. That is magical thinking with a motivational soundtrack. Faith without alignment becomes fantasy, and fantasy is expensive. People also take stranger stories verbatim without understanding that we cannot size up a life from the outside. We do not know what support system someone had. We do not know what access they had. We do not know who helped them. We do not know what they inherited, who they married, what debt they carry, what lie they maintain, or what emptiness they decorate, or what secrets they bury. And the thing about it, that's why when I speak on people I know, it's people I know. Like and when it comes to strangers, I tread very lightly. I speak in possibilities or based off solid things that are solid about them. I don't just try to assume the full story because I don't know the full story. I don't have any problem saying I do not know. And social media makes this worse because smartphones and constant online access influence had a chance to wear off. If school ended for summer break, the people who made you feel less than were gone long enough for you to rediscover yourself. If someone always left you hanging, eventually you became comfortable hanging with yourself. If you desperately wanted romantic love, you might find community and realize connection was the real hunger. But now there is no disconnect from the source of these false feelings. Stimulation is open 24/7 like old Walmart. The memories. The phone is always there. The feed is always feeding. The comparison is always comparing. The algorithm is always offering you another version of yourself to feel inferior to. And even when people come across content like this, many will say amen and keep scrolling. They will not pause. They will not audit. They will not look at the real danger the internet poses to their emotional, financial, social, and spiritual well-being. And what is even scarier is how casually people normalize going online to find people in real life without discussing the risks, warning signs, boundaries, or resources a person may need if things go left. We talk about access like it's always opportunity, but access without discernment is exposure. And exposure without boundaries is danger. This is why I also think many finance reaction creators miss the mark. They may be entertaining, they may gain large followings, but when they minimize the psychological aspects of spending, they reduce people into caricatures: lazy, dumb, irresponsible, stupid, no discipline. And yes, some people are reckless, some people are immature, some people are avoidant, but many people are also dysregulated, lonely, traumatized, socially pressurized, algorithm algorithmically manipulated. It was easier to write this than it is to say it with these braces. Emotionally starved, or living inside a pattern that they never learned to name. If you notice, my words are almost never aimed to insult. They are aimed to connect. Connections and awareness. I connect what I see in the web of dysfunction because sometimes a person can hear the right connection and finally make the connection inside themselves based on what we know about phone addiction, social media dependency, and algorithmic influence. Some people may only start waking up once they reduce their social media use. And that does not always mean deleting every profile. That's what the other one was for, right here, right here. People act like deletion is the only doorway. It is not. You can uninstall the apps. You can suspend your profiles. You can make your profiles private. You can create a clean burner account that follows only positive, educational, or peaceful content. You can reshape what you follow on your main account. You can stop interacting with posts that tempt you, trigger you, enrage you, or pull you into comparison because the algorithm does not care whether your engagement is positive or negative. It sees interaction. That is all. You think you are dragging a post or a content creator, the algorithm thinks you asked for more. You think you're approving a point to someone else in the comments, the algorithm thinks you bought a ticket. You think you are resisting the content, the algorithm says encore. That is why awareness matters. The algorithm studies your behavior, but self-awareness lets you study it back. And once you start studying yourself, you start seeing where your life is leaking. The money leak, the time leak, the attention leak, the emotional leak, the identity leak, the spiritual leak. And eventually one day they probably gonna have a super mass lawsuit against multiple social media platforms because, to be quite honest, it's exploitation. Social media is exploiting people. They know good and damn well what's going on because the algorithm, they've already said the algorithm could tell when people is depressed. They could tell when a person is an addict. They can tell certain things. So not only is it exploiting you to further spin and to finance the pockets of people in ads, but even marketing itself is predatory on people who are not financially literate, who may have literacy issues, so they may have trouble discovering contracts and stuff. So while you think it's your free will of you using social media, the things and the side effects that it's having on your life is not free will. I don't believe, unless you a self-destructive person, that you want the negative side effects of social media to happen in your life. I don't think the people who recklessly post and get fired, I don't think they wanted to get fired unless they smart and they playing a whole role to get unemployment. But I mean, hey, stuff happens. So it's really sad, but it's nothing I could do about it. Then you get a chance to make a different choice, not because someone shamed you, not because someone yelled at you. I mean, actually, I could sue them. I love lawsuits, but because you finally saw the pattern clearly enough to stop calling the cage a lifestyle, needs before wants, stability before performance, awareness before impulses, character before image, peace before applause, because wants without needs is not luxury. They are self-neglect wearing cologne. And the most dangerous prison is the one that convinced you that it was your personality. And where to find support. If you are in Houston or the southwest side of Houston, H-Town, hold it down. H-Town coming down, man. Hold up. Slow light and banging all in my trunk. Wham! List service designed to help neighbors move from crisis towards self-sufficiency, and volunteer listings describe support such as food pantry, financial assistance, job search, help, and other essential programs. And for people not in H-Town, hold it down. For local help with food, bills, housing support, and community resources, call 211 or visit 211.org. I have no clue, reminds me of childhood, why when I've been in comment sections and I've recommended 211, people laugh like if it's a joke. I'm assuming they never called 211 before. But United Way 211 connects people with local resources, specialists, and Louisiana also has 211. Really, when you dial 211, based off your cell phone tower, is going to connect you to that local area's resources. So if you are in Louisiana or just wherever, it works everywhere. They will get you, they will take you through there. For emotional distress, mental struggles, substance use concerns, or moments when you need someone to talk to, call or text 988. The 9888 988. I'm sorry. That was a typo, a wordo, a speako. Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is free, confidential, and available 24/7, 365. You do not have to be suicidal to reach out. Y'all heard that, right? You don't have to be off the deep end. Watch as you dive in. You will never meet the ground. You fall from the shallows now to reach out. You can just have something that you need to talk about. For budgeting, clear debt, credit, and money management tools, review the Consumer Financial Protections Bureau's Your Money, Your Goals toolkit. It includes practical tools for setting goals, working through money challenges, and having better financial conversations. And closing, audit the want, protect the need, because if your lifestyle keeps eating your stability, that is not freedom. That is a decorated cage. Also, I was at the library yesterday and I saw that they had so many resources, which I'm like many libraries have that same resource. They had a section where they had job postings on the wall, they had flyers for free tutoring, they had all types of things. So please go to your local library. No matter who you are, what your age is, there is something for you. Not to mention, libraries also have meeting rooms. Now, granted, I cannot give the rules out because it varies state to state, location to location for so many different things. However, it is usually cheaper to have a meeting at the library, especially during business hours. Now, depending on the price you would pay, depends on your local library. If people in your area pay taxes very well, baby, your library will reflect that. And you can use that to your advantage with the meeting rooms at the libraries. You maybe can start a book club. You maybe can start a gardening club. You can start anything. Or if you have local churches that are not, I'm not gonna say it because I know that some religious people, for whatever reason, they see physical churches with human pastors and speaking out on them as disrespecting God for whatever reason. So I won't do it because I don't want no smoke with y'all today. I'll get y'all smoke another time. Not really. I'm not. I don't battle with people. That's hilarious if I did. But those are resources, and also there's the playlist on here. But if this information may not be digestible in that format, so y'all have a great day. And in 97% of the videos, I have resources in the description. Notice that percentage dropping because some videos get missed. But hey, have a great day.